Microsoft spent $13 billion on OpenAI. It committed tens of billions more to AI infrastructure. It put Copilot into Word, into Excel, into Outlook, into Windows, and even onto dedicated keyboard keys. By every traditional Microsoft metric, this should have been a massive success. But in March 2026, something strange happened. Microsoft started backing away from its own AI strategy. After spending years pushing Copilot into nearly every corner of Windows, the company quietly began removing integrations, reducing AI features, and giving IT administrators more control over disabling it. The same company that had treated Copilot as the future was now quietly rolling parts of it back. So what happened? How did Microsoft take what looked like the biggest opportunity in a generation and turn it into one of its most controversial products? And why did a company that built its empire on distribution discover that distribution wasn't enough anymore? Because the real story isn't about artificial intelligence. It's about the moment Microsoft's greatest strength became its greatest weakness. To understand why Copilot became such a problem, you first have to understand how Microsoft has historically won. For decades, Microsoft possessed one advantage that almost no company in history has enjoyed: distribution. When Microsoft wanted people to use Internet Explorer, it bundled Internet Explorer with Windows. When it wanted people to use Bing, Bing became the default. When it wanted people to store files in OneDrive, OneDrive appeared throughout Windows and Office. Build a product, put it everywhere, make it difficult to avoid. And most of the time, it worked. Not because Microsoft's products were always the best, but because Windows sat at the center of personal computing. More than 1 billion devices. Businesses, schools, and governments all dependent on Microsoft infrastructure. Windows wasn't simply a product, it was the foundation of modern computing. And that foundation gave Microsoft something incredibly valuable: attention. Whenever Microsoft launched something new, hundreds of millions of people saw it immediately. When Satya Nadella became CEO in 2014, Microsoft began transforming. The old Microsoft was built around software licenses. The new Microsoft would be built around subscriptions and cloud services. Azure exploded. Office became Microsoft 365. Recurring revenue became the priority. By fiscal year 2025, Microsoft was generating well over $250 billion annually. Windows still mattered, but it was no longer the destination. It had become the gateway. The real money lived in Azure, in enterprise subscriptions, in cloud infrastructure. Then artificial intelligence arrived, and Microsoft believed it had found the next great platform. After ChatGPT launched in late 2022, the entire technology industry entered an AI arms race. But Microsoft appeared to have a head start. Years earlier, it had invested in OpenAI, and by 2023, that commitment had reached roughly $13 billion. That investment gave Microsoft something priceless: access to the technology everyone suddenly wanted, and Microsoft intended to capitalize on it. Fast. Almost overnight, Copilot started appearing across Microsoft's ecosystem: Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, Windows, everywhere. The message was simple: the future would be AI-powered. Instead of creating presentations manually, Copilot would create them for you. Instead of searching through files, Copilot would find them. Instead of learning software, you'd simply talk to your computer. Microsoft wasn't selling a feature. It was selling a vision, a future where artificial intelligence sat between you and every task you performed. From the company's perspective, the strategy made perfect sense. It had already won previous technology transitions through distribution. Why wouldn't it work again? But hidden beneath the excitement was a problem that wouldn't become obvious until millions of people actually started using Copilot. People asked it to complete tasks. Sometimes it explained how to do them instead. People asked it to save time. Sometimes it created extra work. People expected an assistant. What they often received was something closer to a consultant. And if users feel compelled to verify every answer, every calculation, every recommendation, the value proposition starts collapsing. The warning signs were already there, but instead of slowing down, Microsoft doubled down. A dedicated Copilot key appeared on new keyboards. New Windows PCs were marketed around AI experiences. Copilot became more visible across applications people had been using for years without it. Microsoft's message was sounding less like an invitation and more like a decision that had already been made. AI wasn't coming. AI had arrived, whether users wanted it or not. The problem was the market had changed. When Internet Explorer became dominant, alternatives were limited. When Microsoft pushed Bing, most users remained inside Microsoft's ecosystem anyway. But AI wasn't operating under those rules. Consumers suddenly had options: ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, and switching between them required almost no effort. For the first time in years, Microsoft's distribution advantage was colliding with a market where users could compare products instantly. And many did. This is where the story changes. Copilot's biggest problem wasn't technical. It wasn't even financial. It was strategic. Microsoft assumed distribution would create adoption. Instead, distribution exposed comparison. Every time Microsoft pushed Copilot in front of users, it gave them another opportunity to ask a simple question. Why am I using this instead of ChatGPT? And for many people, the answer wasn't obvious. Across reviews, forums, and user feedback, the same criticism kept appearing. Copilot felt less capable, less reliable, less useful. Unlike previous technology battles, Microsoft couldn't simply lock competitors out. Users could open another browser tab, another app, another AI assistant in seconds. Microsoft's greatest strength had always been controlling access. But AI shifted the battle from access to preference. And preference is much harder to manufacture. The company could put Copilot everywhere, but it couldn't force people to like it. And that reality started showing up in the numbers. The financial stakes were enormous. Microsoft 365 had roughly 450 million commercial seats. At $30 per user per month, the revenue opportunity looked extraordinary on paper. But reality proved more complicated. Many companies experimented with Copilot. Far fewer expanded deployment across their entire organizations. Executives wanted measurable productivity gains. Finance departments wanted justification for the expense. Many simply stayed in testing mode. Then came Recall. Microsoft presented it as a revolutionary feature, a searchable memory for your PC that could retrieve almost anything you had previously done on your computer. On stage, it sounded impressive. But many users heard something very different. A computer constantly recording activity. A database filled with screenshots. An operating system that never stopped watching. The backlash was immediate. Security researchers raised concerns. Privacy advocates sounded alarms. Even people who were excited about AI suddenly became uncomfortable. Because Recall wasn't arriving in isolation. It was arriving on top of years of accumulated frustration. Advertisements inside Windows, forced Microsoft accounts, persistent upgrade prompts, telemetry collection. One complaint by itself was manageable. But together, they formed a pattern. And increasingly, users felt they were losing control of their own computers. Microsoft wasn't just facing an AI problem anymore. It was facing a trust problem. By 2026, something changed. Reports emerged that Microsoft was quietly scaling back Copilot's presence throughout Windows. Features disappeared. Integrations were reduced. Administrators gained more control over what could be disabled. And Microsoft's messaging started shifting. The company stopped talking about putting AI everywhere. Instead, it began talking about putting AI where it was genuinely useful. For Microsoft, that was a remarkable admission. For years, the strategy had been built on ubiquity, the assumption that AI should exist across the entire ecosystem. Now it was effectively acknowledging something it had spent years trying not to admit. Not every product benefits from AI. Not every workflow needs an assistant. And not every user wants one. The biggest misconception about Copilot is that it failed because the AI wasn't good enough. That's not actually what happened. The AI was often useful. Developers found value in coding assistance. Some organizations improved specific workflows. There were real successes, real productivity gains, real use cases. But Microsoft confused enterprise success with consumer enthusiasm. The company assumed that if AI worked somewhere, users would eventually want it everywhere. They didn't. Consumers didn't wake up asking for AI inside Notepad. They didn't demand AI-generated summaries in every application. What many users actually wanted was simpler. A faster computer, a cleaner operating system, fewer interruptions, more control, better reliability. The problem wasn't that Microsoft built AI. The problem was that Microsoft treated AI as the answer before users had agreed on the question. And that's where the old playbook finally broke down. Because AI isn't a browser, it isn't a file storage service. AI is a preference, and preferences can't be forced. Microsoft could make Copilot impossible to ignore, but it couldn't make users prefer it. And that's exactly what happened. People tried Copilot. Then many compared it to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, or sometimes nothing at all. And for a significant number of users, Microsoft's version simply wasn't compelling enough to become part of their daily lives. Copilot didn't create Microsoft's Windows problem. It exposed it. For years, Windows had been slowly becoming a gateway to subscriptions, cloud services, account ecosystems, and strategic priorities. Most users tolerated those changes. The trade-off felt acceptable. But AI accelerated everything. Suddenly, the priorities were impossible to miss. Every Copilot integration, every forced recommendation, every subscription prompt arriving before older frustrations were resolved. Together, they revealed something users had already begun suspecting. Microsoft was optimizing Windows for Microsoft's goals, not necessarily for theirs. And once users start believing that, trust becomes difficult to rebuild. That question sits underneath every controversy Microsoft has faced in recent years. Who does the computer ultimately serve? The company that built it, or the person using it? Microsoft remains one of the most successful companies on Earth. Its cloud business continues growing. AI will almost certainly remain central to its future. But the Copilot saga revealed something the company may not have expected. The hardest part of the AI revolution isn't building the technology. It's convincing people they actually want it. For decades, Microsoft won by deciding what would be installed on your computer. The AI era is forcing it to answer a much harder question. What happens when users finally get to decide for themselves?